Skyfall down to Freak, who's on side stage with CLG's top laner.
Thank you very much, Riv. I'm here with Darshan, the man who played Pantheon. Talk to me, why today, why this game for Pantheon? And why is he good also?
Well, I used to be known as on Spartan, but you know, that Spartan part of me never dies, so gotta bust out the Pantheon, show people my real namesake, and it's pretty fun to play.
So you brought him out because he's fun to play, nothing special?
He's pretty strong too.
All right, fair enough. So then talk to me about like why CLG is happy to play all these different picks, right? The first Pantheon here, you guys brought out Ashe last week. People were like questioning why. What's the inspiration that has you guys continuing to sort of innovate and play things that other teams don't?
Well, I think one of the keys to being better than your opponent is always trying to think of what's next and being ahead of the curve rather than just playing what everyone else plays. So, you know, everyone's going to play Fiora, Nautilus, like Malphite, they're going to play the tank tops, they're going to play all of that, but I'm always thinking about what's the best, what's better than that. And so, like, trying to elevate your game to the next level is thinking about how you can be the best in every aspect, like mentally, physically, like all of that. So trying to improve your champion pool and like innovate is one of those steps.
All right, one final question then for you here, Darshan. It's about Smithy. So he actually didn't give me the high five when I was lining up in front of the audience, sadly, so I'm a little bit mad. But yesterday you gave him Nidalee for the first time for like a year for him. He's been known as a tank player. What is it that gives you guys the trust to put him on a carry when I feel like he gets so much flack online?
I think it was more of just like the way we played as a team was wrong. I think Smithy's always been a really good player, but he always does what the team needs. And we realized that Smithy's an amazing player who can play any champion, so why not let him go wild on Nidalee?
And of course he did, Darshan. Thank you very much. Congrats on the win. Better than Smithy. Actually gave me the handshake. Thank you very much. Send him down to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. Second day in a row, Renegades has come out with an early gold lead against two of the top teams in the North American LCS. Immortals yesterday, CLG today. So although there was a defeat screen for them today, that has to feel good, knowing that they can stack up to these other teams in the early game.
Yeah, it's really good that they really got the early part of the game down. But the big difference between the lower tier teams and the top tier teams is that keeping that lead. When you see a top tier team get that lead, they just hold on for it for their dear life. But you saw in this game, when Renegades got that huge lead, they gave it right back 2 minutes later.
Right, and that, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah, I just want to focus in on that huge lead that Renegades did get, because one of the things I was looking at a lot this game were plays that were made without vision, deep on the map, and a lot of teams, both teams actually, overextended at different times. And the play that we have the replay of is that huge lead that Renegades
Yeah, we can pull that up. 11 minutes into the game, we see a 4-for-1. It starts with like a 2v2, 1v1 skirmish, and then eventually turns into a 4v5 team brawl. We'll roll this out on your screen. Renegades getting the better of this one.
Yeah, so this is because, you can see the decision making here from Smithy. They think with the vision that they have, they can go for this 100% and they're going to get RF, but he flashes out of that and it's an overcommitment. They didn't know that the extra numbers from Renegades were all on the way. Whereas you can see, those are the only members of CLG that were even coming. Now we have late members arriving from CLG trying to clean up the scraps. But this is really where the huge swing in the game came from, and this huge lead that Renegades got was due to an overextension of CLG. You know, up until this point, Renegades had been doing a good job staying even in the lane swap and, going blow for blow, maybe even a slightly ahead with Cole for Lucian. But at this point is when, CLG kind of stepped a little bit further, outside of their bounds, and Renegades punished them really well for it because they had the Fog of War advantage.
And it all started with Smithy going in there. He saw an opportunity, and even if he could have executed it perfectly, he needed to judge for the rest of the map. They had Lucian coming up, and Ezreal was still bottom at the end of it, and that's how it turned out.
So some sloppy decision making. Even if they did secure that first kill, the rest of the fight still probably plays out about the same way.
At best, you probably get a trade there, yeah.
Right, exactly. I do also, though, want to, focusing still on the early game and Renegades play, want to recognize the fact that they found themselves the lane swap against the Pantheon, trying to avoid that 1v1 against the GP, because we had mentioned as soon as we saw that locked in and Champion's like, oh, Pantheon is fantastic in the 1v1 against GP if they can actually find it. So good on Renegades to lane swap on the lane swapping team. They did manage to get the vision down that they needed and execute on that lane swap.
Yeah, and Pantheon is just the solo queue 1v1 terror because no one lane swaps in solo queue. But in competitive play, you're able to avoid that lane. What happens in the Pantheon versus GP lane is that every time you queue Pantheon, he has that block up. When you take down his block, he stuns you and he has block again. And you're like, huh, I have oranges, but I have no damage.
Yeah. from the Pantheon point of view, like you could be Gangplank here. I'll be the Pantheon. I'll take this matchup.
Right.
I double you onto you. I stun you, and I make you use your remove scurvy early, so like you don't get as much heal. And yes, you can take off the stun, but I'm still gonna spear you afterwards, and you still take a big chunk.
But another interesting thing about that is the Storm Rager's Surge that Darshan had that you mentioned earlier. Like every time you get that 30% HP, you can't run away from him, and if it looks bad, he can just run away.
Right, yeah. Typically, you're scared of a Pantheon when you don't have your escape, flash spell. Well, if he's got Storm Raider Surge, even if you flash away, if he's already dealt that 30% damage, he can catch you.
Well, specifically against Gangplank, in this Gangplank matchup, when Darshan is going to go seek out the Gangplank in the late game, you have all the answers if you have Storm Raider Surge, because your play pattern is still, yes, I'm going to double you early to get the gap closer, and you're going to have to use remove scurvy. After that, all I have to do is spear and maybe an auto. This is a DPS champion. Gangplank, it's very easy to deal 30% of his health in damage, so it's so easy to proc the Storm Raider Surge. Then you know that he has no more remove scurvy. He has nothing that he can do, and you chase him down. And Darshan did it really well.
So now let's look at how this game turned back into CLG's favor, because as we mentioned, great early lead, great first maybe 12 minutes of the game for Renegades, but then things started to fall apart. We have a replay that we want to show. Pull that up onto your screen. 14 minutes into the game, a TP down here by RF. We're going to roll this clip out, and this goes back to what your point was, Kobe, about vision play and decision-making based on the circumstances of the map.
Right, and actually they can see Gragas right now. So there are minions up that were trailing there and pushed all the way to the turret that saw Gragas. What you're seeing right now is Alex and Freeze thought that they had numbers advantage because of the teleport of RF. But RF he got a little greedy here. He wanted to go around and cut off the members of CLG that were running away. But when he ran into Gragas, who was coming down the lane through those minions, he actually couldn't even 1v1 the jungler, and RF had to turn back around, and then Alex and Freeze are sitting there like, oh, what? I thought we had the teleport advantage. I thought we had the numbers advantage. So this is kind of a lesson, because this happens so often, even in solo queue games where you think you have the pick and you want to cut them off, but you should stick with your numbers advantage. If RF just went with the pack, and they had that three-man pack, they probably could have gotten
At worst, they just walk away from it. Even if they realize that, like, this still isn't going to go in our favor, now as 3, we can walk away. I had the privilege of seeing on my own client scrolling up to that 1v1 between the Gangplank and the Gragas, and it was literally a W and a Q that took him to half health. I mean, the Gragas was pumping out a fair amount of damage to that Runic Echoes early in the jungle.
It's like one of those things in solo queue where you get, oh, we killed the support, time to go Baron. In this case, it's like, oh, I have the TP flank, this is our chance.
Right.
But it's only something you do when you're really far ahead. I mean, when you're kind of in the middle, you kind of just have to, take the budget path and just group up with your team. And even if you're not cutting them off, you're still giving them the power to like go all the way through. You're kind of skipping steps and,
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing where you have to judge risk differently in the early game when you don't have deep wards and you haven't had time to set up for these plays, and you're just kind of going off instinct and going for heat of the moment plays.
Yeah. So we saw from there the gold differential kind of even out and then grow in favor of CLG. And from there, we saw a more accurate representation of what you were talking about earlier, Dyrus, the difference between a top-tier team and a lower-tier team, in that CLG, once they had gotten their gold lead back, they played it out a lot more methodically.
Step 1, get that gold lead. Step 2, wait for your power spikes, play for objectives. If you still have that gold lead, keep going for those objectives. And if you're behind, wait until the opponent makes the mistake. And CLG played it out very well.
Yeah, they played around the 1v1 that you mentioned, Darshan, or the Pantheon versus the Gangplank. They had that great Baron call, which they're able to snag and get out using the Bard Tunnel. So overall, well played for CLG once they made it back into the game. Renegades, though, things are perhaps looking up for them. Coming up next, we'll see if Team Dignitas has what it takes to keep TSM from joining CLG in second place. Don't go anywhere. The LCS will be right back.
I mean, Z0 and Gauntlet has...
Dude, if you play against lane with Z0, just buy Call and go there and farm the fucking creeps. And get Call like in
or pick Veigar
3 waves.
and Q the Z0 minions.
Countered. Still is able to get the kill onto Xmithie. That's first blood. That's a double kill for Crumbs on the rec side. They probably get Aframook here as well, but they're keeping it for Darshan.
I'm running behind them.
You guys see me? You guys see me? There's only 3. Go. Karma. Okay, it's all you guys. Karma. Freeze.
Yeah.
I have flash.
I'm on right side.
Let's go. I ulted. Nice shot. Yo, I'm gonna port over the wall. I got him.
RF Legendary. They have his eye off. He tried to flash over the wall, but flashed up. And the small mistake, so when CLG begins to capitalize, and CLG takes down Renegades.